Hey everyone, and welcome to World Heritage Journey, where today we're at the Cathedral of Notre-Dame in Reims, northeastern France. Here you can see the incredible Cathedral of Notre-Dame in Reims, one of the most famous Gothic cathedrals in all of France. Now, it dates from the 13th century and is on the World Heritage List along with the Archbishop's Palace next door and a former abbey of Saint-Remi on the outskirts of town. Now, all three of these locations are closely linked with the coronation of French monarchs. Let's have a look.
So this is the interior of the cathedral, and it's really bright and airy in here because there's actually more window than wall. It was a conscious choice on behalf of the architects to fill the interior with as much light as possible because some of it was removed, but other parts of it were destroyed during World War I when the Germans shelled the city. Now, the connection with the French monarchy goes back almost 1,500 years because in the late 5th century, Clovis, king of the Franks, was baptized in an earlier version of the church on this site. Starting from the early 9th century, French kings all came here to receive their coronation rituals, and that continued right through until the early 19th century. In total, 34 French kings and queens were crowned here. Only a couple of them were not. The cathedral is also closely connected to one of France's most famous medieval heroes, Joan d'Arc, or Joan of Arc. She came here in 1429 and liberated both the city and the cathedral from the English, allowing the Dauphin Charles to be crowned right here in the cathedral.
So this is the exterior of the cathedral, and as you can see, the architecture is absolutely magnificent. And because it's the spiritual home of the French kings, a lot of the statues are actually regal rather than just religious, although there is plenty of that too. Now, I mentioned inside that it's really light because there's a lot of windows, and from here you can really see what I mean. From here, you can actually see the windows on the other side of the cathedral as well, which is absolutely unheard of. This is the Palais du Tower, and it's the former Archbishop's Palace right next to the cathedral. And this is where they would have the coronation ceremony after the official crowning happened in the cathedral. Now, the building itself dates from the 16th century, and it was renovated into the fashionable French Baroque style about 150 years later. And the final part of this World Heritage listing is the Abbey and Basilica of San Ramo, which you can see behind me. Now, this former abbey is dedicated to Saint Remi, who was the saint who converted Clovis, king of the Franks, to Christianity in the early 5th century. Now, his remains are actually buried inside the basilica here, and they've been there for over 1,000 years. Now, the basilica itself is actually about 200 years older than the main cathedral in town, which is fascinating as well, though this one's been modified quite a bit more over the years. I find it incredible that so many buildings and treasures and sculptures from this area of France in particular, associated so heavily with the monarchy, has survived for as long as it has in the condition that it has, particularly during periods like the French Revolution when anti-royal and anti-church sentiment was running very high. But they're all here, and they're all here for us to see, which is fantastic. But that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Joel on the road, and I'll see you at the next World Heritage Site.